Hi guys, welcome to another story time with Poppop. As I told you in the video I made earlier, I'm just going to continue on the series of ordinary people that changed the world, or who changed the world. That's written by a man named Brad Meltzer, and it's illustrated by another man called Christopher Eliopoulos. I kind of butchered that name, Christopher. If you ever happen to hear this, I apologize. The book that I'm going to read is I Am Amelia Earhart. Brad read it for for Lila, his daughter, who makes him feel like he's soaring, and also for his wife Audra. It's his life, his co-pilot, and his hero. And the book starts out with, I am Amelia Earhart. There she is. When I was little, people told me that girls should wear dresses and play with dolls. They said we shouldn't have unladylike adventures. I didn't agree. Obviously, she did not agree with that. She did not want to play with a doll. In fact, when I was 7 years old, my sister and I decided to build our own roller coaster in our backyard. We placed 2 planks of wood up against the side of our tool shed. The cab was a wooden packing box with roller skate wheels attached to the bottom. We greased the wood with lard, so we moved super fast. Lard is like, I don't know if you've ever seen Crisco or butter. Butter's kind of like lard. It's basically animal fat. And it was used to grease pans and other things. And they used it to put on the blocks of wood so they would go faster. And in one caption, it says, Grandma's not going to like this. Amelia, are you sure this is a good idea? This isn't a good idea. It's the best idea, Amelia said. So there's the shed with the wood and the crates and all ready to go. There's the packing box at the top. Let's see what happens. Of course, I got to ride first. This was my moment. Here we go in 3, 2, and you can see it. She's ready. She's at the top of the shed, and you can see her friends at the bottom wincing, just wondering what's going to happen. I still remember the wind in my face. My stomach seemed to sink. I was flying. And there she is. She had come down the shed. Zoom! She's just flying away. The crash was loud and noisy and messy. It certainly wasn't ladylike, but it was awesome. And the caption says, Amelia Earhart, take it apart this instant. That's her grandma running over to yell at her. That was awesome, Amelia says. And see, Grandma, there she is. She's running over there to give Amelia what for. And Amelia's just happy as can be. It wasn't the last time I would fly. As I got older, I went to many air shows. When I was 23 years old, but still a kid at heart, my dad took me to meet Frank Hawks, a man who would eventually set many of his own flight records. You ready? I'm ready, said Amelia. For $10, Hawks agreed to take me on my very first flight. So there she is at one of the air shows watching the airplanes fly. And there she is meeting Mr. Hawks, getting ready for her flight. Her first flight in an airplane. And airplanes aren't like they are now. As you could see, that one was wide open. It says for 10 minutes, we flew through the sky and out over the Pacific Ocean. By the time I was 200 or 300 feet off the ground, I knew one thing. I had to fly. There she is, flying. Upside down, of course. Looks like she's having a ball, isn't she? To save for my flying lessons, I worked as a truck driver which wasn't ladylike either. A stenographer, which is a fancy schmancy word for someone who writes down what people say. And even a photographer. And there she is at those different jobs. A truck driver, a stenographer, and a photographer. Six months after I learned to fly, I bought a bright yellow used biplane that I named Canary. Canary is a cool name for a plane, right? This is my instructor, a woman named Netta Snook. That's her real name. But here's my secret. I wasn't a natural. I wasn't the best pilot. I just worked harder than anyone else. That's enough flying for today. No, I can do better. One more flight. There she is with Miss Snook, her flight instructor, and there she is flying her yellow canary plane. Most important, like that day on the roller coaster, I dared to do what so many said couldn't be done. A girl flying across the Atlantic. Amelia, you sure this is a good idea? This isn't a good idea. It's the best idea. I became the first woman to fly across the Atlantic Ocean, and then the first woman to fly by myself across the Atlantic. Back then, people took boats to get to Europe, sailing for weeks. Planes were still a new thing. In fact, on the day I took off, one magazine ran an article that said women would never be able to fly that far. Well, there she is, getting into her plane and flying across the Atlantic. So what do you think? You think she'll make it? Well, let's find out. But I did. Said she did make it. To do it, I had to fly for 14 hours and 56 minutes with no rest, no break. Sometimes the sun was so blinding I could barely see where I was going. In the process, I also broke the record for crossing the ocean in the shortest time, doing it faster than any man or woman ever. This is awesome. There she is, flying across the ocean. Could you imagine? Flying a plane all by yourself for 14 hours and almost 15 hours. Think about that. And a plane by herself, first time, and if something happened, there'd be nobody around to get her. But she was brave, and most of all, she did it. Just waiting for the computer to come up. There we go. In October 1922, I broke the woman's altitude record by rising to 14,000 feet. And in July 1930, which was 8 years later, I set a speed record of over 181 miles per hour. Yep, that's what it says, 181 miles per hour. Then I broke an altitude record, which is just a fancy smancy way of saying I went higher than anyone else. How high did I go? About 12 Empire State Buildings, straight up, at a time when no woman had ever gone that high. Well, I just lost the app, guys. Just give us a second, we'll get back on. Technology's a wonderful thing, but it sure does give me a hard time. I don't know what's going on, but the book's coming up right now. Let me get to the right page. It's always something, isn't it? There we go. Almost there. I wish I had all these books in paperback. It'd be easier. But it's easier to get them all online, and then I have them. And if one thing too is we could share some of these books. If you guys get the Nook app, I can share them with you. Come on. It's a little slow today. We're almost there. Almost. Man, we read quite a few pages already. Didn't realize it went so fast. Oh, goodness gracious. All right, we're almost there. All right, I'm at the yellow canary plane now. All right, here's the red plane. There's the ocean. She made it across. And what'd she say? It said how many Empire State Buildings? About 12 Empire State Buildings. So that'd be one building on top of the other building 12 times. That's how high she went. Okay, and we're back. And she says, in my life, I took many flights. Every single time there was someone who said that I wouldn't be able to do it. You know, you're going to find that in your life. There's always going to be people that tell you can't do something that you know you can do. And you know what? Don't let them stop you. There's been times in my life when I've allowed those people to tell me I couldn't do something, and then I didn't do it. And then there's been times when when people told me I couldn't do it, and I did it. So don't let anybody tell you. If there's something in life that you want, you can do it. You can accomplish anything. Anything at all. Never let anyone stop you. Whatever your dream is, whatever your dream is, chase it. Work hard for it. You will find it. It is the best lesson I can give you. Work hard. No matter what you want in life, if you work hard for it, you can get it. I am Amelia Earhart. I know no bounds, and I hope you'll remember that the greatest flight you'll ever take is the one no one has tried before. Whoops, I forgot to show you that picture, didn't I? Here, let me show you. This is her. She had a ticker tape parade after she flew across the ocean. Everybody loves her. And here's, never interrupt someone doing what you said couldn't be done. That was by Amelia Earhart. She had said that. And here's a picture of her. She was a real person. That's what she looked like. Never give up. All right, here's some more pictures. Let me see if I can read them. I'm waiting for it. Amelia at age 7. That's her right there when she was 7 years old. Amelia in the cockpit in 1936. The cockpit is the inside of a plane. She's sitting where the driver sits. And these are real pictures of a real person. This is Amelia with her first plane, the Kenner Airster biplane, which she named Canary. Remember, we read that in the story. That's a real picture of a real person with a real plane. That is Amelia Earhart. Whoops, well, I missed something. I want to show you another picture. This is Netta Snook, Amelia's flight instructor. Remember, she was in the story? This is the lady who taught Amelia how to fly. And then there's one more. Frank Hawks, pilot. Frank Hawks. He was the pilot who first took Amelia on an airplane ride when she went to the airplane festival. See, these are all real people we're talking about. Let's see, there's a timeline on the bottom here. I won't be able to show it to you. I need to make it bigger so I can read it. Oh, well. I actually can't get to it. I can't make... Oh, here we go. She had her first airplane... Let's see. Amelia was born on July 24th, 1897. Born in Atchison, Kansas. She had her first airplane ride. Damn it. Sorry. She had her first. I keep losing this darn thing. We'll get it. Alright. She had her first airplane ride in December 28th, 1920. So that's 100 years ago. This is August 23rd, 2020. And she had her first airplane ride in December of 1920. So that was 100 years ago. That's how short of a time it's been that airplanes have really been going. She started taking flying lessons on January 3rd, 1921. And then in July of 1921, she bought her first plane, and that was the Canary. Lost it again. Hold on. I've got a couple more things on the timeline here. Give me 1 second. Come on. October 22nd, 1922, she broke the world altitude record for women. And then in May 20th, 21st, May 20th and the 21st, in 1932, she was the first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic Ocean. Could you imagine flying from, let's just say Florida, okay, all the way over to England? That's a long flight. And then, let's see here. Published her memoirs, The Fun of It. I think that's the name of it, in 1932. And then in June of 1937, began an attempted flight around the world. And in July 2nd, 1937, disappeared over the Pacific Ocean. But she was quite the woman. I just want to remind you all, you can do anything. Anything you want to do, if you put your mind to it, you can do it. You just have to work hard. I love you all. Thanks for listening to another story time with Poppop, and we'll see you real soon.